What if I told you Congress just handed the Pentagon an $840 billion check and most companies don't know how to get access to it? Well, it finally happened. The FY26 appropriation bill passed after some unnecessary drama, but it did finally pass, and there's a lot of good stuff in there. Over $8 billion in Congressional Adds, which is just a ton of come in, where Congress said, hey guys, I appreciate the budget the president set, but I think you should spend money on these core areas over and above what the original budget was. That's Congress exercising its muscle, flexing a little bit to say, I want money really coming to my district. These congressional adds are a unique way that companies can short circuit the line that they normally would have to wait in to get into the POM process or to break into the federal budget. They can ask Congress to help them and get something kind of slotted in. Now, Congress doesn't fund individual companies, especially in the defense bill. They don't do earmarks, but they definitely will look at funding for projects, and those projects come off white papers that the companies have submitted, and all of a sudden you could see a few $1 million added for a white paper you submitted into the bill. That sounds great. A lot of people don't have access to the money. This $840 billion just got passed in the appropriation bill. It's got some of that money in there. It also has like the baseline budget that everyone asked for. Now, a lot of companies have been waiting for this. We've gone well over a year without a proper appropriation bill, which means significantly limited new starts during FY25, no new starts during FY26. Now they're like anxious to get the money. The reality is that money's still going to take another 8 weeks or so to work its way through the financial system that the government has to play with, where all the money gets divvied out, appropriated onto the proper program elements, loaded onto the accounts. The finance guys have a lot of work in front of them right now, but they're going to execute that so that in about 8 weeks, you'll see units have the funding that they set out in the budget or that they got as a congressional add to finally go and spend and put back in the economy. I can't tell you how big of a deal this is for the defense industrial base. I've been watching the companies. I have a few clients in this position where without the regular funding that's come through, without SBIR being reauthorized, without all these funding mechanisms being in place, the fractures were starting to show. And now we have this $840 billion, and now they just got to hold on to be able to get to it. So minimum 2 months you're looking at until money really starts flowing. But the fact that the bill is now law, there is money, we will have new starts, we will have some good opportunities. Now, what is in the bill and what isn't in the bill? The first thing to really note are those $8 billion in adds. That is a change of tone where Congress is reasserting itself a little bit. And we talked about that earlier. That's a good sign. And I don't know if you heard, but Trump asked for a $1.5 trillion defense budget. So this defense budget we have right now is the largest defense budget we have in history. If you tack on the $150 billion that we have and the One Big Beautiful Bill, reconciliation dollars, money I've talked about already on this program, you really have a $1 trillion defense budget. He's asking for a $1.5 trillion defense budget in FY27. That's a 50% increase to the largest budget we've ever had. Now, I know how the POM process works. We have all this stuff that we put through the POM process. It's going to be hard for the military to get their numbers up to that $1.5 trillion level without taking on a bunch of adds. And oh, by the way, it's an election year in FY27, midterm elections, super thin margins, super unique opportunity where I think the administration is going to want to give all the ammo we can to the different districts to say, yep, we got this in the bill. We got this in the bill. We're doing this for our local communities to get more money out there. And defense is the best way to do it because it creates jobs and it actually helps build our industrial capacity, helps build our national defense resources and our ability for our troops to command and control the battlefield. So I expect there to be even more adds in FY27. That being said, we are sitting at one of the largest bills we've ever had for defense, the largest bill we've ever had for defense, especially when you factor in the reconciliation money or the One Big Beautiful Bill. So when that money comes, it's really going to start helping people. There is a unique line item in there. It's an ad. I want to say it's like $8.3 million where they funded the SBIR sitter office, which is interesting because currently SBIR is not reauthorized. Now, SBIR is an impactful program to many people that watch this channel because it is a pool of funding that's created out of the appropriation bill, taxing all the RDT&E money. So all the $3,600 that comes in if you're on the Air Force side, but really just that research and development money to create this pool of funding that is set aside for small businesses. We have a ton of clients that are small businesses. People are really interested in access to that funding. And it's a great way to get started if you've never played in the DoD space before. It comes with the best data rights. There's lots of other benefits to it, but the biggest benefit is it gives you a direct acquisition pathway for future acquisitions, as long as the work derived from extensor completes the work that you did in your phase 1 or phase 2 that you got through the SBIR program. Well, SBIR currently isn't reauthorized, and Joni Ernst and others have been trying to make changes to the program, and it has broad support, but because it's not reauthorized, there's no new SBIR dollars coming. Now, I've heard rumors that Department of Homeland Security has not even allowed SBIR phase 3 to continue. They may have changed the policy on that recently, but a friend of mine, very close, very high up in DHS, said they were not allowing phase 3s to even occur without SBIR being reauthorized. Whereas in the Department of War, they are absolutely allowing SBIR phase 3 to continue, which is huge. It gives companies that direct pathway and allows them to continue. Well, the fact that they funded $8.3 million for the SBIR office in this appropriation bill is a pretty good indicator that I think they're going to reauthorize SBIR. And the rumors that I'm hearing on that are that SBIR gets reauthorized sometime in March or April. That's really interesting timing because SBIR is populated based on the tax of the RDC&E funding that exists. So if they don't reauthorize SBIR by March or April, and I'm a comptroller, someone that controls the money inside the Department of War, I might say all my funding's allocated if they wait 6 months to reauthorize SBIR. If my money's already spent, I can't give a percentage of it to create the SBIR pot of funding. Now, I told you earlier in this video that it's going to take probably about 2 months for the money to flow all the way through the financial system. Right? 2 months from now, you're looking at the end of March, beginning of April, right? Sometime in that window. Just so happens to be right around the same time SBIR could get passed. So they wouldn't have spent all their money yet, and they can hopefully still allocate the pool of funding available for SBIR. That'd be pretty incredible if they do it that way, just in time. Of course, Congress doesn't like to make anything easy. It'd be much easier if they were just reauthorize the SBIR program at the same time they passed the appropriation bill. But the appropriation bill was so hard to get over the finish line. In fact, it caused a partial shutdown for government. Everyone knew it was going to get passed, but the drama of it all was too much for the politicians to, not take and not soak up the limelight for a little bit. But we got it passed, and this is a massive bill. It's going to be super impactful to the defense industrial base. It's going to be really impactful for all the companies in my portfolio, but certainly it's going to be a great thing for our nation. So I'm excited to see the money start to roll out the door. You're going to hear a lot more from me on this bill. We're going to break down all the different components that are in it. But I really want to point out, this is a very big bill, and it's also got money for SBIR in the bill, even though it's not the actual SBIR authorization. So they'd be pretty foolish to fund the SBIR office and then not reauthorize the program. Anyways, that's what I got. If you like what you heard today, please like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye.